So Dan, you're going to take us through our Pentagon compliance roadmap and kick off the contractor obligations.
Yeah, this is a big piece here. From a contractor perspective, when you're dealing with end items, when you're looking at your contract, how do you know if you have a marking requirement for an IUID, which will lead to the reporting requirement? Well, you want to look in your contract for DFARS 252.211-7003. That's the marking requirement, so every asset that you're supplying to the government as a prime contractor would need to be marked with a unique, an IUID, a unique identification tag. Now, as the prime contractor, you also have the responsibility from your subprime contractors to also follow this same process. So if a subprime is supplying you with either a finished good or a component, that needs to be marked with an IUID label. As the subprime contractor, however, they do not have the requirement to report that item. That falls on the prime. So once you've marked all your assets, now you have the requirement, as we see in number 3, to submit to IRAP the complete registration, or what you'll see down below that Sharrieff will talk about, 252.211-7007. Once you've submitted all the data to the registry, that's all vetted through the DCMA. And once that's vetted and it's gone through to the registry, that will give you your full compliance in terms of marking the asset with the unique identification label, and then the reporting requirement. Now you've met your full compliance with the government. That will allow, what you're all looking for, is the timely payment of those assets.
All right, and I'll take you through the contractor requirements. So if you've got DFARS 252.211-707 embedded in your contract, and you can, I think Dan touched upon it, you can see if that clause is in your contract by simply doing, if it's a PDF file, just doing a search within the document, either for a DFARS or a FAR clause, and that should kind of identify all of your contract obligations from that perspective. But as a contractor handling GFP, or if this is within your contract, then that means that you need to handle all life cycle events that happen to that particular item. Whether it's you've got an embedded item that's going in for repair, and you've got one part that's marked and is going to be de-embedded, and a new part is going to be then embedded into the template. You need to report from a repairables perspective all those life cycle changes that happen. If an item is no longer in your custody, you need to be able to report all those transactions as well. And all this needs to be done from an automated perspective and through to and through government systems, either by using an 1149 or submitting into the DoD systems into the IUID registry. That is the repository for all government property. So when it's time to turn in a contract, you would use or you would go through not just IRAP as the portal, but the IUID registry to then record that that contract has been submitted back either to the DoD or to a receiving cage number that is going to be handling the contract going forward. So if you've got this marking, not marking, but reporting requirement, it's it's essential that you're using the right system to be able to manage your life cycle changes. In some cases, you'll be using PCARs for anything from disposition to the DER mode. And then typically what will also show up in a contract where you have a reporting requirement is FAR 52245-1 that requires you to do inventories, and then as well make sure that you keep updated the 10 data elements, which I'll just go through a few, which are like part number, unit of measure, location, disposition, things of that nature will need to be recorded as well.
Sharrieff, if I could just touch on one more point on the end item side that distinguishes from GFP and legacy. In regards to the reporting or the registering of end items or acquisition, one key point to keep in mind, I get a question every once in a while is, well, when can I do the registration for these assets? You cannot complete the registration of an end item until the item has been shipped and accepted by the government. You may do, let's say, a proof of delivery, and you'll see that the item has been delivered, and you're going to use that date as an acceptance date. That can sometimes lead you into trouble there. You want to be using the acceptance date, which would be an electronic transmission that you would receive back through the government, from the government, that is. Once you have that date, now you're able to complete the registration process for your end items. So that's a key distinguishable or difference, if you will, from GFP and legacy.
Yeah, yeah, and we're going to cover both here, as you can see, because we get a lot of questions on both, and I think it's a hot topic in terms of the way the DoD is trying to source mark everything. So all of the rules that are in place now in regards to on the acquisition side, where you have acquisition items that eventually, when they get to the DoD, they're marked, they're accepted, and now they have that birth record on it. They have the IUID requirement on it. Now, from a property perspective, it can be tracked efficiently. Where you get the breakdown is if you got folks, and we've dealt with them on multiple occasions, where they have a bunch of GFP that they have the marking requirement and they have the reporting requirement, but they haven't been keeping up with it. And then you've got to really do some catching up, and it could be a climb, a high climb up a hill.